All right, here we are, folks. We are finally at the point where we're going to put this thing together enough where we can fire it up. Oh yeah, I believe that's going to happen. So, when we left off before, we had just put in our top motor mount, and actually I turned it around because all of the bolts are supposed to be bolt side this way, nut side on this end over here. So this is the bolt end, this is the nut end, and I changed it around because I had it the other way around in my last video. So anyway, I also have the exhaust fed through there. You can do it with the oil tank in place. It is not easy, but it can be done because I did it. I didn't have the cameras rolling though, of course. I apologize for that. But I didn't bolt anything up yet, and we are ready to go. So all I did so far was I fed the header pipe through, and I got it in place up here. And we are going to add these gaskets, and they're going to go right up in here. Can you see? Oh yeah, they're going to go right up in here before we bolt the exhaust down. And what we're going to do is we're going to fit all of this together before we torque anything and before we bolt it all the way down. So we're going to loosely fit. That's what it says to do. That's what we're going to do. Loosely fit all this together. So we're going to take this header pipe and we're going to feed it right here. We're going to put the muffler on. We are going to, there's a gasket that goes in there too. There's one already in my muffler. I haven't decided whether I'm going to take it out and put a new one in or not because it seems to be in there pretty good and it looks pretty darn new. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do that. We are going to hook up the air box. Everything's already assembled, so I'm just going to plunk that thing in place and I'll show you how it bolts up in there and all that good stuff. We'll get the carburetor hooked up to the boot. The spark plug is already in there. I put a little bit of copper anti-seize around the threads and just put it in there. And I don't torque my spark plugs. It calls for I think 14 foot-pounds or something. But spark plugs are one of those things where I never torque them. I just put them in barely. You don't want those too tight. You break off a spark plug, you do something like that, and you ruin the threads in there, and you're screwed. We don't want that to happen. I already have our starter switch wired up to the starter switch wires from the OEM clip, and I already popped the starter and it already juked my motor. Ha ha ha, yes. I already kicked the starter once and the motor turned over. Obviously we don't have any spark. We need to put the coil together and put the cap on, put the spark plug on. We're gonna get the exhaust on first. But anyway, without further ado, let's get this sucker together and fire it up, shall we? Then we can put on all the cosmetics and the chain. Take it for a cruise. Yeah, let's get this dog together. All right, so yeah, make sure that you subscribe down there and ring that bell so that you can get notified when new videos come out. And after we fire this dog up and get it together, I already got a new build. Yes, sirs. I got a new build already purchased and it is waiting. Should I show you what it is? I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna. You put down your comments down there and let me know what you think it is. Just throw a guess down there. Let me know what's happening. I appreciate all you guys, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the builds, and hopefully you'll enjoy the next one. I got another one in store. I'll put it to you this way. It doesn't have as many wheels as this one. That's all I'm going to give you, so go ahead and throw your comment down there and let me know what you think I got coming up next. I might reveal it, I might not. before this video is over, but we'll let me know anyway. Let me know what you think right about now. So just throw it down in there and see, you know, it'll be fun for you. Maybe throw a guess down there and then see if later on if I do reveal it, see if you were right. Anyway, stay tuned and make sure to like this video too. Make sure you throw that thumbs up down there and let's get this baby together, shall we? Let's get to town. Let's fire this dog up. Fire it up, let the engines roll. It's time to burn it down. Black Label. Gotta keep it going for the Black Label Society, man. Fired up. Alright. Anyway, one day, pretty soon here, I'm gonna put that lick, I know how to play it on guitar too. I'll throw a little bit of that Black Label Society on my guitar down up in here. Anyway, still working on the theme song. Haven't quite got everything taken care of yet. I got a few riffs, but haven't had a whole lot of time to work on it. Been doing other stuff, but anyway. All right, so let's start getting this dog together. So we got the exhaust up in here, right? And we're gonna fly these dogs up over the top, and then they're gonna catch on to here, and they only go one direction. If you try to put it the other way, it won't bolt up right. We'll have to see which way we are once we get up there, but there's one more step we need to do before we go in there to put in these guys in between the aluminum and the exhaust, right? And then once you tighten it down, they're just gonna flatten. So they just get stuck in there. So let's get these dogs, just put them right on in there before we hook the exhaust up. And then let's go the other side, get him in there. And now, let's see if we can't get our exhaust fed up in there. So again, you want to find out, it looks like this one won't line up like this, but it looks like it will line up like this. So let's get that thing there we go. We got them smashed up in there. And then let's get the facing the right direction. There's that one. And then looks like that one faces this direction. There we go, they're lined up. So before we put them in there, we're going to put some copper anti-seize on the threads, and I want to do it first because some of it will go in here as well, and it will keep this guy from messing up. But we're gonna hit all the threads. We know which direction it goes. Just put some over the top like that, and it should threads will work itself in. Whoa, 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 whoa. I guess we're gonna do one side at a time because I do not want that to come back out. We'll just get it started, a bunch of it started on the bottom of here, and then we'll, same concept as the top. Okay, now that we got that up on there, we can slam this guy. Let's get him back up. There we go. Let's get him back up in there where it belongs. And at least get a couple of these, couple threads started. All right, so there's that one. And now let's do the other side, seeing how is, it won't fall back out now. And I got a piece of Velcro on here just to hold this guy because this one keeps getting caught on the oil tank down there. And I don't want to scratch that anymore, which I probably already did. Although the powder coat seems to be holding up nicely. It really didn't do much. But anyway, let's get this stuff hooked up. And this one I can reach. And I forgot my nuts. Woo! I'm gonna have to walk over there and get my nuts because I left my nuts on the table. Oh, I crack myself up sometimes. Woo! All right, retrieved my nuts off the table. All right, so let's slam this guy back down in here where it belongs. There we are. All right, once again, we're going to keep this loose because we want to hook up the entire exhaust before we tighten anything down. All right, let's move on to our muffler. Now, we got a few pieces, right? We got a brand new exhaust gasket that really goes on here, in between here and the exhaust pipe, but there's already one in the muffler. And it seems like it doesn't want to come out very easy. I think we might keep this and use the one that's already in there. And then it's going to get a band around it. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is take these little pieces of rubber, right? They go in here. And these are used. These are one of the only things I really have that I'm kind of using that's rubber and used, but they were in this old frame. This subframe before I took it to powder coat, and they're pretty nice. So I'm gonna reuse them. There's no reason why I should buy new ones of these, right? Anyway, I'm going to take a little bit of dielectric grease. And you can use any grease really, I suppose, in this case, but I'm just going to use that because I have it handy. And I'm going to put it right here, which is going to go on the inside of here. And it should keep it from seizing up in there. And it should keep the rubber nice as well. So, and then we'll just plug that right in the hole. And we'll just reuse some of it that popped out of the, obviously I used a little too much, but, and right in the hole. Now we'll clean up the outside of that because otherwise that's going to attract some dust and dirt and everything else. And inside it'll be fine, but on the outside we don't want it to attract all of the dirt and dust and grime and crap like that. So I'm going to clean it up. Clean it up. All right, now that we have those in place, we can get our muffler hooked up, and let me show you what I'm talking about. As you can see inside of here, there's already a gasket in there that is still even smooth, and it still has this, it still has the paper around the outside of it. The only reason why it looks so crappy is I tried to pry it out, and I noticed that it was in really, really good condition. And we shall see. Now, we need to hook this dog up. So, all we need to do is room zoom zoom and a boom boom. No, that's an old freaking song. We don't need to do that. We need to put this baby right onto there. But first, all right, so the way this is going to work, it's going to bolt in right here. This is going to go right here. But before we can do that, we need to get this guy on. And he is going to go right like this, and the notch, this little notch right here, is going to stick into this little slot right here. Notch, slot, notch, slot. Woo! Okay, so let's get this guy on and into the slot. See, this little notch goes into the slot. We can throw this guy look at that. All right, now we're not going to tighten that down either. We're going to get some of these bolts in place. All right, so now I have the luxury of brand new exhaust fasteners. Woo, look at those shiny dogs right there. The way these work is on the top one right here, it faces this way from the back. So this is going to latch on to right here. So So before you put those, no dielectric grease on here because this is going to be, this is on metal. So we're going to use the waterproof grease here. Just like so. And then once again, it's going to go in this direction right here. So let's just put that through. And it's going to go right into this slot right there. And then on the other side, you can't see it anymore. It's behind the exhaust. Let's go ahead and, I'll flip the camera over there. We can look at the back. All right, so once again, let's get our Maxima waterproof grease right here and grease up our connector. Just want a light coat on here. And then, the way this one's going to work is you can probably see the hole right here. This little guy right here, this little edge is going to stick in the hole. So it's going to prevent it from sliding. So basically it just goes right on in here and through the hole. And that's the way that connector works. All right, now the way this is going to work is it doesn't call for this, but I am going to use some blue Loctite on these because I use that in any place that I don't want something that rattles to rattle itself loose. And I believe that the exhaust is a prime candidate for backing itself back out of the hole. The way this is going to work is the bolt is going to go through here, and then the washer is going to go in the back. All right, right in there. We'll feed this guy right on through. And then we'll try to reach the hole. Okay, we got that one started. Now let's get the bottom one started. We got one down here as well. We're going to have to do the same thing to that, which seems to be a little tricky. But we're going to get it. So let's get it Loctited up. And then we'll throw the washer behind and try to feed this one in as well. And this one is off by a mile for some reason. All right. So I had to move this up a little bit in order to get the exhaust on there because all I did was I just basically just kind of shoved it across like this a little bit, and then now it looks like if I can find the bolt and the washer, which I dropped on the floor, there we go. Now whoa. All right, got it started. And now we can get that tightened down a little bit. We got this one in there a bit. We're going to leave those loose until we get this baby sorted out. So now let's see if we can't crank it down a bit and get that situated. Huh. All right. It looks like we could give that a little tight. We'll not tighten it a lot, but we'll just snug it down a bit. All right. Those are tight. Now that we got that stuff all bolted down, let's go ahead and zip these babies down. I think we're going to have to use a wrench on that bottom one. All right. You got to remember some of the tightening we're doing here is actually crushing that copper gasket that's inside of there. So we want to make sure we get these kind of tight with a wrench and kind of feel for it, where you can tell, I could tell this one was smashing it. So That's a good thing. We wanted to do that. Ooh, that one's good. I felt it crush the washer. I mean the gasket. Okay, now we're going to tighten these guys down a little bit farther. I think we're good to go. Everything seemed to, look at that. Well, we got to tighten these guys down. That's pretty solid. All right, let's get these guys tightened down. Okay, that one's pretty tight. Pretty tight. We can get this guy tightened down. So let's just put a little bit of blue Loctite on here. And blue Loctite on the other one. And then we can just zip them down real fast. Try to keep this thing straight. So what you want to do is tighten these down, get them to be the same length in the back. So yeah, you want to make sure that they're coming out the same amount of threads, and then once you have them even, then you can just keep torquing each one down one by one until they both get tight. All right, those feel pretty tight. I also have to tighten these guys, and I'm going to blue Loctite them as well. All right, I'm going to blue Loctite this guy so we make sure that that thing doesn't rattle off. Because here in Arizona, we crack on some crazy trails, so let's blue Loctite that guy. And then we'll get this one started, and then we'll pop the other one out, and we'll blue Loctite that. And then we'll tighten this one down first because this one has a little adjuster on it. This one goes straight in, so just snug now. We're going to torque them. All right, so we're going to start torquing these babies down. And we're going to start here. We're going to go here. Then we're going to go to the band bolts. And then we're going to go to the muffler mounting bolts. And here's our torque specs. I got this off the 2005 to 2009 manual, the Honda manual. So the 2005 to 2009 400EX manual. And it calls for, let's see, the pipe protector wasn't on here, but I added it from a different page. Anyway, the pipe protector, that's this guy. We're going 15 foot-pounds on there, and that's the pipe protector. And the muffler band bolts, those are back there, the two Allen heads that I got. They're 17 foot-pounds. The joint nut, that's these guys. They call for 20 foot-pounds. And the mounting bolt, they are 24 foot-pounds. Those are the two that have the rubber thing on. So let's get down to this. So the joint nut, we're going 20 foot-pounds on these guys. We're going to have to do this in increments until it starts torquing because we still have that copper gasket in there that's going to be crushed. And so it's going to take a little bit to get both sides to torque proper. So you got to be patient with it. Make sure that you keep on switching. Okay, there's 20 on that guy. We're probably going to have to do this twice, though, because of that gasket that's in there. So we want to make sure it's torqued. Okay, there's 20 there. Let's go back and make sure that this guy's 20. 20. And one more check, of course. Make sure that this guy's still 20, of course. And if it is, then we're ready to rock and roll. Yes, sir. Okay, that side's 20. Let's hook up the other side. We can get rid of this guy now. We don't need him. And we don't want him to be on there when we start it up, or we'll burn this guy up and it'll melt to the exhaust and Well, that would suck. Okay, there's 20 on this guy. Now let's go up top. Okay, there's 20 there, and we'll make sure that this guy's still 20 on the bottom. And then we'll go back up top. That one moved. Okay, there's 20. All right. Done. That guy's done. Now let's hit this one. These guys are 15. 15. 15. All right, now we'll hit the band bolts. These are the muffler band bolts, and these are 17 foot-pounds. So let's grab us the Allen. There went 17 on that one. Let's see if we can't get this one to go 17 and then go back to it. $17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. And 17. So that took a while. You have to basically just keep on cranking those two together until they both torque at the same time. Because once one gets tight, then the other is loose until they both get all the way bottomed out and tight. So that just takes a little while. You just gotta keep up with it and keep it even, and that'll keep the exhaust leak from doing its thing. We don't want any exhaust leaks. Anyway, let's move on to these bolts right here. The muffler mounting bolts, I believe they're 24. Yes, sir. Muffler mounting bolts, 24 foot-pounds. 24. Now we have one more down here. 24. And that's that. Woo! We got exhaust. One more step closer to firing this dog up. We never did the motor mounts. So let's go ahead and get those motor mounts torqued down. And then we can add some oil. We're gonna actually add fluids to this dog. Yes, let's get the motor mounts torqued down, and then we'll add the oil, and then pretty much all we need is the air box and the carburetor. Oh yeah, maybe a fuel tank. In order to have some gasoline, we probably will need, need some gas in order to start it. So, all right, let's torque those motor mounts. I got us a little diagram right here from the manual, and it shows all of the motor mounts, the top, the front, the bottom, the hangers, and the pivot. So let's get these babies torqued down. We're going to start with the bottom. Doesn't really say what order to do these in, so I'm just going to make up my own order and do them the way I think they should be. I'm going to start with the bottom and the front. I'm going to start with this guy and then do this guy. So, we're going to hit 55 foot-pounds on this one right here. 55. All right, now let's go 40 on this guy right here. Okay, 40. All right, as long as we're right here, let's hit these guys. 19 foot-pounds, and then we'll hit the other side. 19. 19. Let's check this one again to make sure. Since these are doubled, we want to make sure we get them both again. 19. 19. Let's go over to the other side and hit the other side of the motor of the hangers. 19. And 19. Let's hit this one again. 19. And one more here. 19. We got the front, the hangers, and the bottom done. So let's hit the pivot, and then we will hit the top motor mount last. And the reason why I'm going to hit the top motor mount last is because technically I've seen people like take the top motor mount out and rebuild the top end and put the motor mount back in again, and the bottom remains untouched. So I'm torquing all of the bottom first, and then I'll torque the top last. So this is a Gland Innovations pivot bolt, but it calls for the same specs as OEM, so they'll be the same, and it's 80 foot-pounds. 80. All right. The whole bottom of the motor is all torqued now, and then we can hit this top motor mount, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, last but not least, the top motor mount. This baby calls for 55 foot-pounds. Boom, 55. All right, now that we got all these torqued down, man, we're ready to add some oil to this dog, and the fuel tank pan to put together, and then we got the fuel tank to hook up, we got the carburetor, we got the air box, and then you know what time that is. Fire it up and let the engines roll. So yeah, make sure that you subscribe down there, and make sure you ring the bell so that you can get notified whenever I put out new videos. Got a new build coming up. Been talking about it a little bit earlier, and haven't decided yet still if I'm going to show you what it is in this video or not, but leave your comments down there. Let me know what you think it is, because I gave you guys a hint last time earlier in the video. If you were paying attention, I'll give it to you again. The build, less than 4 wheels, put it that way. So could be anything. Let me know what you think. All right. Now that we got that motor mounts torqued down, the motor's secure, let's get some fuel to it. So let's hook us up our throttle cable and carburetor system. We'll get all that going. So the first step we're going to do with our throttle cable is it's going to feed through this little slot right here, and it's just going to go right up over the top. So we'll just put it right through here and feed it through this little hole right here, and then this end is just going to dangle down here. We're waiting for our carburetor, and then we'll slide it up here and we'll go underneath the brake line. And let me move my camera and we'll go up top. That's all there is to that. We're just going to put it right through there. Now we're up through here, and we're going to go right into the throttle assembly right here. All right, we're going to bust our cable into the little hole right here. And it's going to be a pain in the ass because we should have done this before I put it together. That would have been much smarter. But we can still do it. What you want to do is you want to open this guy up and throw him through. I said throw him through. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to, this needs to go underneath and come up from the bottom. So first, I'm going to line it up with the hole. There we go. I got it in there. And then what I'm going to do is take my little bendy pick right here, and I'm going to shove it up underneath. All right, and there you go. We got ourselves a throttle. We're going to leave the lid up. We're going to leave the cap off because we might need to adjust this. So let's move on, man. Let's put this carburetor on here. Let's continue with the gas cycle. All right, we are here. Let's put the carburetor in. All right, so what you want to do with this, you want to throw this guy down here. This is our used carburetor. This actually came from my other quad over there. But this is a 2007 carburetor. So what you want to do is you want to throw this guy through. And then we'll just get it started. And then what you want to do is you want to flip this up. And while you have it flipped up, you then want to put this guy in there. Like so. And then make sure it goes into the slot. Like so. And we should have. Look at that. And then we'll spin this guy on a little farther. On, not off. You want to leave yourself enough threads on here that you can get it tight and also have this thing bend the right way. And I think we're pretty much on the money right there. So then let's pop this guy into there. What you want to do with this is you want to line up this mark right here with the little slot into the intake boot. So let's see if we can't get that in there. Oh. Half of it went. Whoo! Well, that's going to be a... It shouldn't leak. God damn it. Oh, dude. If I have to take this carburetor out again, it's going to really suck. It's leaving marks on my hands, man. It went. It's in there. Woo! Man, that was a tight fit on that carburetor. Alright, so as you can see, there's a little notch on the carburetor that you want to go in between the two little notches on the boot. So what we're going to do is we're going to back this guy up into this guy. And that should take care of that. We'll slide this guy up on. There we go. There we go. Alright, now we can get our tray down, our fuel tank tray. And I had to assemble some pieces. I didn't record it, but all I had to do was I had to put this little piece on. And it just takes one little plastic piece that goes one under and one over. And then it just slips inside of there. And then this came with adhesive already on it from the factory. Just had to glue that on. And I had to plop these little things in. We're ready to rock and roll, but brand spanking new. Yeah. That's what sucks about, man, I'll tell you what. Here's a little tip for you guys. Never start from scratch to build something because you have to buy every single little piece, right? So if you're going to do a build, start out with a machine that's already assembled. It could be clapped out. Doesn't even matter. But at least you have all the pieces. Because here's what I went through, man. So I bought this tray. I thought, I'll just buy a tray. It came blank. Then you got to buy this. Then you got to buy these. Then you got to buy this. Then you got to buy the little plastic pieces as well. And it gets really expensive. So, man, my advice to you is don't do what I did, man. This is a nightmare of expensive craziness. And on top of that, one more rant, and then we'll move on to putting this tray down. One more rant. But then what happens is you get all these kits like for the motor and stuff like that, right? They're like, just reuse your OEM pieces for this and this and this and that and the other thing. And well, when you start from scratch, you don't have the OEM pieces. So now you got to figure out what's missing from your kit, and you got to go find those somehow. Anyway, let's put this tray in and stop me from bitching. Woo! All right, so the tray is going to go right up in here. It's going to butt up against this guy in here, and it's going to go over that, and your tube is going to go in here, and this guy is going to sit on top. So the way this works is you feed it in between here. There's a little slot right here for the cable, and then you want to put the cable through and go in here, and it just goes right like so. And then this guy goes through the hole in here, and now you're ready for a gas tank. Of course, there are a couple of bolt holes we got to put in there, and of course I left the bolts in there, didn't I? I did. Blue Loctite, because I don't know what the torque spec is here. They don't really say. So we're just going to blue Loctite them and tighten them down. So then we'll throw a little bit of blue Loctite on this guy. Now that we have this guy in place and torqued down, we can make sure that we get this in the right place. So there's a little slot right here that the cable goes through. So it's going to sit just like this. And we want to make sure that it's riding right next to this. And we got the proper bend. So right about there, it looks perfect. And we'll just zip this guy on down there and try to keep it as close as we can to position. And that looks good. All right, before we go any farther, you don't want to forget to tighten your carburetor down. So let's get that taken care of before we forget. And I've actually done that before. I've actually went out riding and never tightened the carburetor clamp down and got lucky. I've done it actually a few times. And with this carburetor, geez, you saw the struggles I had getting this guy in there. I probably don't even need a clamp. That sucker, that was hard. Anyway, let's get this clamp down. It's right here. This little screw right here. All right, we're good to go there. All right, now let's put our cap on. And this little slot right here, there's a little slot right here that it fits into. This little guy too, we can just get rid of him. He goes into this little hole right here. So it just goes into the little slot right there. And then right across here, and then this guy goes through the little hole right there. And you definitely want to do this before you put the fuel tank on, because once you put the fuel tank on, I've done it before, or I forgot this. Once you put the fuel tank on, you can't access these anymore. Well, you can, but they're really not easy, and you can't do it with a regular screwdriver. You got to use one of those bendy screwdrivers and get in there, and it's just a pain in the ass. So put the cap on. And even if you got to take it back off again, at least this cap is very easy. It's just 2 little screws and you're good to go. Now that we got that on there, I think we can bust our fuel tank up on there, huh? Nope. Oh, we can't do that. Why? Why? Anybody? Because we need to do the air box first, because the snorkel comes up and goes in here. And if you put the fuel tank on, you won't be able to get that in there. You can, but it's not easy once again. But next we want to put the air box in there. All right. We got the gasoline apparatus, so we can get fuel to the motor. Now, we need to do something with the air. So let's do the air box. Right, so the first thing that we need to do before we can hook up the air box is to hook up the seat lock plate, because it holds the fastener for the air box. So let's get that dog in there. So let's Loctite this dog. Then this guy is just going to, it's got a little notch right here, right? Just goes in the hole. And since this is going to stay, we're not going to need to do any adjustments or do anything crazy to this. This is the seat lock plate. It's going to stay there anyway. We're going to go ahead and torque it. So 84 inch-pounds. 84. And then next is our airbox assembly, which I already have all assembled because technically I stole it. I stole it from my other 400EX. I stole it right out from underneath it. So I stole it for myself. So it's cool. We're all good. Anyway, that's my 2007 400EX. And that's the one you saw me ripping the trails on. Anyway, so we're just going to slide that bad dog right on in there. That's what she said. Woo! Alright, so the way you want to do this is this guy right here is going to go underneath. This front part is going to go underneath. This is going to hook onto that carburetor right there. You want to make sure you get this guy set so you can get him with the screwdriver, and we'll just flap that dog in the hole, and that's all there is to that. Everything belongs into place. That thing fits right on there. This goes right on in here, and we technically have some mounts that go here. But just for all intents and purposes right now, I'm not doing anything except for hooking this up. Because, why? We're going to start it. And what if I got to take it back apart again? I don't really want to put everything together and then have to take it back apart again. So we're going to make sure it runs first before we do all that. Then we'll come back and we'll lock everything down. But we will tighten this guy. So we're just going to hit this guy right here. All right, we're secure there. So now we got fuel, we got air. We need one more piece of the air puzzle though. We're going to have to hook up our little breather down there. And before we do that, let's put the cap on. The lid. I should say the lid. So the lid's pretty easy too. It says front right there. So that goes in the front. Woo! You got it. You got it. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, there's a little bolt right here. This guy goes in here, and that's what we needed the seat lock plate for. But we're not going to tighten it. We're just going to put it there so we don't lose it and it doesn't move. Front goes in the front. Make sure the latches are out of the way. All of the latches. Make sure all of the latches are out of the way. There, that makes it much easier when they're out of the way. We just slap this guy down, we slap that 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 guy down, and we slap that guy down. And that's it. Alright, so now that we got the air box in, we got one more set of air. We need the old breather. So let's get that in there. The way this goes is this baby right here fits into the hole right here. And this guy gets this end of the tube. So let's Alright, there we are. And then you just put this side in the hole right here. Well, we got to compress that that little clip. Okay, we get that clip on there now. Alright, so all this stuff gets cranked up here. And then this guy just goes into the hole right there. There. That's where that guy belongs. We got the fuel apparatus. We got the air apparatus. Now, we need some liquids. We actually need fuel and lubrication. So we need a fuel tank and some oil. And then guess what time it is? What? Yes, I believe that is all we need. We can't go anywhere, of course, because we don't have a chain. But we can give it a start. All right, fuel tank. Let's get us some petro. All we're gonna do is just drop that dog on there and we're gonna hook the petcock up into here, into the fuel line. Simple as pie. So this dog just fits right on here. Oh, and it gets out of the way of the other stuff over there. And we're gonna leave this gas cap on. I got a cool ass gas tank lid that goes on there. I got the Alba Racing gas cap. Let's go ahead and put that on there right now. What the hell? Before you bolt it down, there's a couple of straps that go on there. And we got ourselves some brand new OEM rubber straps. So let's just put those on so it doesn't go anywhere. We're not going to bolt it down, but let's just put the straps on and they go right here. So we got one strap right here. And then of course on the other side. All right, and now we hook up our fuel line. Right like so. We straighten that guy out. All right, now we got fuel. One more step to the equation before we can start it is we need to put some oil in this dog. All right, so the last step we're gonna do here, we got all the fluids in there. We got the brakes ready to rock and roll. We got the chain on. Last step is we're gonna put the oil in. And I've already put in most of it. And we're gonna finish it up. And then we're gonna fire this dog up. All right, we've come to that time. We are going to fire this dog up. So the very first step we're going to do, of course, is we're going to turn the gasoline on. There we go. Make sure we don't have any leaks pouring out of that thing anywhere. So far, so good. And I guess the next step would be turn the key on. We're in neutral. Hopefully we got spark. Hopefully I hooked everything up right. Oh, that's weird. Barely even touched it. Ooh, I heard compression. It actually sounds like it's running really good, except for that, doesn't it? It's just like idling nice, and it was like running nice, and then what does that sound? Maybe I had the valves adjusted wrong. Anybody got any comments in there? What was that sound that I was hearing? Because it didn't sound right. But it seemed to run nice.
It runs real nice.
Except for the sound. Alright, we're going for number 2. Second heat cycle. We're going to turn this baby on and let it come up to temperature, and we'll see what happens with that whirring sound. And once again, if you guys comment down there, let me know if you think it's good or bad. Or indifferent, or whatever. I can hear the valves. The valves are out of adjustment, I think, is the only thing causing that sound, and it's just they're way out of adjustment.